Okay, CB Human Rights. Yeah, I haven't posted any videos in a while. A lot has happened. Basically, to give you an idea, I found out I'm MK Ultra, and I have I have exposed a member of my family as being a human trafficker and a child trafficker, and I was tortured and made homeless because of that. There was really nothing in it for me to expose them. I really just did it to protect the innocent from people like that, even if they're a member of my own family. Uh, so I'm not going to go into detail about that, but I'm just trying to explain why I haven't been posting. And also, I started a new channel called Let's Stop Child Trafficking because it's a big problem, especially here in California. And Let's Stop Child Trafficking channel. And I have a blog attached to that too. So I plan to continue more with that. But I don't really expect people to get on my live chat long, but I am currently homeless, but I am working. I am okay. And so I'm not going to eBeg. And I just wanted to say too, please be kind to the homeless, because if you've never been homeless, you have no idea how hard it is. Basically, assholes and rich assholes, they treat the homeless very poorly sometimes, and that's not right. So yeah, not going to eBay. Give that money to that person out on the street that's really struggling really badly. It's that's a lot of times unable to work. I'll be okay. I'm working, so I'm gonna get out of this mess. Okay, here we go. Communist propaganda methods. Because the New World Order is a communist system, and but now it's like a techie modern thing where they're using mind control on the citizens. And I don't know if they're so much implanting people anymore, but yeah, a lot of mind control is being used. Okay, so this is the book I've been reading from 1960, Communist Propaganda Methods. It's probably upside down or something, but okay, so here we go. I'm on page 9. Indoctrination within the party. The Czechoslovakian regime was ideologically undisturbed in its Stalinist spirit, save for some slight lessening of control in the realm of art. There were no concessions which would point to a new course. The ideological reevaluation going on in Moscow prior to the 1956 20th Congress did not refuse the Czechoslovak party leaders in their task of Stalinist Sovietization and propaganda activities. As there was no official change enunciated from Moscow until the 20th Congress, the CPCS disposed of the ideological ferment. The quote unquote liberalizing up to 1955, for which the West coined the phrase quote unquote new look, was popularly described by the Czechs as Stalin-Cobism, indicating a middle-of-the-road approach between dogmatic Stalinism and the more relaxed Malenkov policies. Stalin's successors moved carefully in the reappraisal of Stalinism in order not to disrupt the continuity of power and ideology. It was not prudent to admit the reality of new situation in terms of ideology. It was not safe in Moscow and even less safe in Czechoslovakia. For the latter was in the formative years of Sovietization and had not passed the first decade of communist indoctrination. The ideological vacillations of Moscow in the era of Malenkov's interregnum did not, at least outwardly, confuse the CPCS leaders. They were always able to fall back on the 1952 19th CPSU Congress when Malenkov had advised the party to, quote, draw on this to be the safest course to follow. Okay, there. Okay, two, the 20th CPSU Congress. Take a quick sip of caffeine. The 20th Party Congress opened Pandora's box. Held in February, ideological foundations of the satellite system, yet it produced no blueprint for new dogmas. The Congress admitted the legitimacy of different roads toward socialism and thereby toppled the ideological monolith. The Czechoslovak road to socialism, CS leaders course between Stalinist dogmatism and especially the latter at the C Conference of March 1956. The new Soviet party line condoned autonomous communism in the satellite countries. It seemed that the old Stalinist elite in Czechoslovakia regarded this shift as a temporary tactical move since they never fully accepted the theory of different roads to socialism. The lower echelons of the party, however, recognized it as a historical adjustment to the objective trend within international communism toward the substitution of a communist commonwealth of nations for totalitarian centralism. But no matter what interpretations were given to the new Soviet course, the new concept put forth by Moscow unleashed forces of thought for which the communist propaganda machine in Czechoslovakia was totally unprepared. The corroding effect of the pronouncements made at the 20th Congress of the CPSU was further aggravated by the fact that the new course was stated in too vague a form to be of adequate guidance for the satellite countries. Thus, while the 19th Congress was conducive to confidence within the CPCS, the 20th Congress created great confusion within its ranks. The party leaders, accustomed to total emulation of the USSR, at first embraced the new course with orthodox thoroughness. The first secretary of the CPCS, Antonin Novotny, reflected the anti-Stalin mood of the 20th Congress when he declared at the party's Central Committee conference in March 1956, the wrong and one-sided thesis of Stalin was reflected also in our country. The one-sidedness rested in the fact that the dictatorship of the proletariat had only one feature, brute force, but no education. This led to the simplified understanding of class warfare in its vulgar form. However, the quote, enthusiastic self-criticism which the Stalinists engaged in at the CPSC Central Committee Conference of March 1956 only increased the atmosphere of uncertainty in the party about what was to come next. The centers of ideological schooling became the most enthusiastic supporters of the 20th Congress party line. Protected by the prestige of the Soviet Congress, party members, by dialectical discussion, extended the anti-Stalin line to encompass general liberal. As a result, the machinery of ideological schooling suddenly became a dangerous breeding ground for explosive ideas. Quote, the teachers of Marxism-Leninism in their discussion of the 20th Congress became the bearers of liberal and other erroneous views, end quote, complained Karol Basilek at the plenary meeting of the Slovak CP Central Committee on July 13, 1956. In an effort to halt the spread of party disintegration, the National Conference of the CPCS, held June 11, 1956, attempted to tackle the problem of the confusion created by the 20th Congress. The CPCS secretary's speech at that conference reflected the party's decision for a holding action against implementation of the Congress. Oh, I got unstable connection. Okay. Sorry about my connection, guys. It's connection is pretty patchy right now. Okay, so I'll begin that paragraph again. At first, however, the party encouraged nationwide discussions on the 20th Congress and solicited opinion on what its effect should be on Czechoslovakia. The communists who were graduates of ideological schooling were the boldest. All these graduates expressed the belief that the time had come when those who for years had followed Stalinist methods of brute force should resign from the government and from high party posts. Contrary to such expectations among the lower party ranks, the National Party Conference of June 1956 adhered to the old path set forth by the 10th CPCS Congress of 1954, which was fully Stalinist. The initial reaction to the 20th Congress, apparent in the CS Central Committee meeting of March 1956, when self-criticism was the order of the day, was entirely missing at the party conference 2 months later. Apparently for the sake of restoring the discipline of the party functionaries, ideologists, and propagandists, the party leaders asserted that their old course was correct. This conservative attitude could not, however, be construed as a violation of the spirit of Moscow's 20th Congress, since according to that Congress, the quote-unquote brotherly communist parties possessed autonomy within the basic framework of Marxism-Leninism. It was up to the communist leaders of Czechoslovakia to decide, in accordance with the specific situation within the country, whether to adhere to the old line or to abandon it, despite the fact that the climate of opinion among the rank and file party members favored Moscow's relaxed course. The leaders of the CPCS considered it safer to remain ideologically true to the general line of their Stalinist 10th Party Congress of 1954. Formalistic ritual. At the same time, it stirred up ideological commotion which was not conducive to the efficient implementation of party directives. For the purpose of this study, the most crucial difference between the 19th and 20th Congresses of the CPSU is that the former Congress was based on the doctrine of the supremacy of the CPSU over all other communist parties. There was only one road to socialism, while the latter Congress admitted the principle of quote unquote equality among communist parties and the possibility of different roads to socialism. This doctrinal change, whether recognized as a mere tactical maneuver or as a more permanent feature, allegedly stirred up a greater interest in the teaching of Marxism, Leninism. Okay, connections back on. I'm going to end this soon. In the communist world, hoping that the changes would have a rejuvenated effect on the party. In November 1996, the party periodical Nova Mistel wrote that because of the initiative of the Soviet Union, we are resolutely abolishing shortcomings of the past. The immortal principles of Leninism, enriched by the experiences of the Soviet Union, are again being put to use in our party. Interesting. This statement implied that the principles had not been in use in the past. The same journal which hailed the resolute application of the ideas of the 20th Congress complained in January after the 20th Congress, the CPSU, the new pamphlets reflect little of what the 20th Congress brought to us. The implementation of Leninist